Hello, everyone. It is week 5, complete in the books. Here we go. For those who don't know me, I'm the Path Walker, and I upload weekly videos on how I'm trying to improve my life in all aspects, one week at a time. Um, Thank you for joining me. We're here to talk about how we did in this last week and what's to come. Overall, this week has been good. Even though there's some notable stuff that I'll be getting into that, didn't go the way I would have liked, um, I'm very happy, mainly because I can feel and I think I can clearly see myself moving in a good direction right now, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. First and foremost, we're actually Monday, 1:31 p.m. So this is a very unusual time for me to be uploading my video. Normally, I like to upload at night. Uh, Particularly, the goal is to do like a Sunday night upload. We are Monday afternoon right now, and the sleep is kind of funky because I've been awake since 10 p.m. on Sunday night. Why did I wake up that way? I'll get into that. That's a whole thing. But that's where we're at now. So even though I'm pretty tired right now, in a way I'm fixing my schedule, so there's that. But I'm excited to get this video done and just share what's going on. So as usual, let me get into my notepad here, my trusty notepad that I talk about, our main priorities, how we did there, what we did. So as always, I really like to start with the healthy self-talk as one of the most important things and the most important thing to make sure that I'm doing throughout this journey. I think it's what helps me stay consistent, or rather just stay on track, avoid getting completely off track to the point that I can, just stop making videos, stop wanting to improve myself, and I think it's key. And what is healthy self-talk? For those wondering, it is where I basically talk to myself out loud. I will talk to myself out loud. My name's Max, and I go, "All right, Max, what are we stressed out about? Why are you feeling bad? What are we feeling right now?" And I slowly kind of logically explain, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through. And I particularly try my best to do this whenever I feel any kind of negative emotion or feeling or thought. And I've noticed that after that, it brings me more level, it brings me more calm, it makes me have less anxiety or overthink less. And yeah, we had moments where we really needed it. I sometimes might do it if I'm headed to something that I might be anxiety inducing, but I'm glad that I've been good with this, and I think it's been very key in this week being good. The big winner, let's just get it right out the way. The big winner is no porn or sexual stimulation. So again, I don't know. Again, I always for those I know it might be annoying maybe for some people when I start repeating myself on certain points, but I do feel like certain things I really want to explain um, to those who this might be their first time watching me. So I have a porn and masturbation addiction. I've had it for a very long time. I think a very big, it's been a phenomenon that's really held me back a lot. But as I've slowly started to understand addiction more and more, I see it as an escape to certain negative feelings about myself or my situation and thoughts. And to me, conquering this addiction is not just about not having the addiction in my life, but it means that I've overcome a state of being that I always need to escape from or needed to escape from. So, with that said, my main goal, I follow this guy who on YouTube, his name's Mark Quepet. He's a big guy on improving one's life with a big focus on porn addiction. And he has this thing called a hard mode reboot where he believes that a guy needs to go through 90 days of absolutely nothing. And ever since I heard about that earlier this year, I was like, I need to do this. And it's been tough, and I started here and there of trying to do it, but um, I'm currently doing pretty well because this before prior to this last week or so, it's been so bad to the point that I haven't really been getting consistent at all. I had that one rush when I first started this series again from week 0 to week 1, but it kind of died out and I started getting into like a negative space. And I'm happy to say that I am now at 9 days straight. So we were perfect in since we last uploaded, and we had 2 days prior, so that's where we're at 9 out of 90 days. Based on what Mark Klepet said, now is when things start getting a little bit more challenging. They were already challenging, but now they get more challenging, and where I really need to engage in um, preventative measures and have prepared measures for when I get triggered strongly. As of this moment, my strategy is to be extremely strong with putting my phone in the basement before I go to bed. I think that's a major thing. I think me maintaining healthy self-talk is also a major thing. Currently, what I'm doing, and I got this from therapy, um, whenever I might think that my mind might be going in that direction in any way, I do this thing where I'm just going to share it with you guys. It might sound a little weird, but I kind of put my fist in the shape and I do like a figure eight like this with my thumb. It's an interesting sensation. It feels a little bit, I don't know, it's not exactly tickling you, but it feels a certain way. And what I do is on the downward of the figure eights, I breathe in, I go, when I breathe out on the up. And I do that, and it kind of just gets me, it's kind of a meditative thing in a way, but it gets me to just get more present minded, sensation minded, and kind of get my thought out of that space. And that's what I've been doing. We'll see how it goes. If I start noticing that I'm getting really strong temptations, I'm going to have to think of alternative things to do. But for now, let's keep going strong. I feel very motivated. I also think there's no coincidence that I did really good here based on what I talked about in my last video that happened. Okay, again, for those who don't know, these are the real important ones I focus on. These are the extra ones that are not as important if I don't hit. Healthy sleep. Unfortunately, sleep has not been good. There are, in a way, some excuses I can say as to why sleep wasn't good. It's been kind of a disaster, but it really started after I stayed up very late talking to a girl that I talked about before, and it was a very important conversation where we stayed up very late. One can argue I could have done it differently, I know, and I'm not making this as an excuse, but the way things played out, I'm I'm okay with this. Quality family time. I was able to spend quality family time on my mother's side. I was not able to do so on my father's side. So I will make sure to really try to do that this week. Having phone in another room. This one has not been good. It's also a little bit, not to make an excuse again, but I was talking to this girl a lot, um, and I was using my phone to do so. So I feel like I kind of have an excuse, but also I shouldn't have been doing this. Um, I have not been meditating at all. I have not been meditating at all. And I don't know why I'm not, because really it's a total of 25 minutes. Like I have a 15-minute one in the morning and a 10-minute one before I go to bed. And I don't know why I do it, especially because I struggled going to sleep a lot this week. and when I thought I was tired, and I really could have just been like, hey, let's do this 10-minute nighttime meditation. It doesn't hurt, it relaxes me, and it's easier to fall asleep. So I'm really hoping I could really get some progress with this one. But in a way, this week we're going to really prioritize these big time. All of these, the ones that we didn't, while also, of course, maintaining this. I would really like to see a lot of pluses for these. Um, Again, because these are not as important priorities as these, I don't focus on the negatives. We did do some working out, not as much as I would have liked, but we did get 3 days of working out. Um, New adventures. I did go to a very kind of big social dance event. I do salsa and bachata. I just started dancing lessons, and I've been really going to social events more where I can dance with people, and it's awesome. I'm also going out with friends, and on Saturday night, I ended up going to I had a very nice adventure I would consider where I went to this event. I've never been to something like that before. There was like performances. I went there with friends that I have from my dance classes, and then I danced a lot. And then afterwards, we hung out very, very, very late. But it was a very good time. Being social, this one obviously it connects to that one, but I've also just been very social in general. I feel compared to before, mainly with hanging out in the dance classes. I went to a social with friends on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. So 3 socials I went to. Romantic progress. Okay, let's talk about this one because this is the one that's very spicy. People love to think about this, and I talked about it big time in my last video. But I was speaking to a girl, and at the time I was thinking, oh, I really like how I'm talking to this person. I feel like I'm getting along, and we're talking a lot, and it's growing in a healthy way. And after talking more, I ended up finding out that she is not in a position to where she's looking for a relationship. And I know I trust me, I'm a very big overthinker. I was like, whenever I hear something like that, I think to myself, oh, this girl is just, she just doesn't want it. She just wants to turn me down in a nice way. But the truth is, I never actually asked her out or anything in that way. I think she made a remark that sounded like she friend zoned me, quote unquote, and we had a really healthy time where we talked about that for a long time, and we figured out how it was, and it was a bit emotional because I liked it a lot because I was able to be very open and honest with this person, myself, and they were too, and I just had a really healthy communication with this person. I didn't like fall for this person. I didn't have a crush on this person. I didn't have strong feelings for this person, but this was someone that kind of I started talking to in a friendly manner, and I just thought it was cool how I'm just talking to this person, maybe it'll end up somewhere. And right now it's changed to this is just a friend of mine. I was at the perspective that, oh, I can never be friends with a girl or something, but strangely, I think this is one of the healthiest things for me. I think me just speaking to women more is a good thing. This girl is very big on setting up outings where multiple people are hanging out together. I'm having fun, I'm learning to dance, and I'm just socializing. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I mean, there's always the possibility that us just spending time together, one of us might end up developing feelings for the other. But I feel pretty good about not seeing it go that way. I'm not very fixed minded on like, oh, it has to go one way or another. Personally, after this, I don't see her in the romantic sense, and we're just having a good time. Um, but I'm so happy because I feel like this was a very big step for my progress in being more comfortable in talking to women and being able to express myself more confidently and how I think, avoiding games. Um, so that's where I'm at right now. Trust me, I'm not sad or anything in case anyone's worried about that. I'm very happy with how it's played out. Okay, moving on. So I went to 3 social dance events and I put that as extra because that was my goal to go at least to one. I went to 3, which was awesome. I'm also getting significantly better at dancing, so I like that. I'm honestly like I think my rate of improving at dance is really great, but I'm so I really just wish I knew more moves. And I've only been dancing for like a month, but every time I'm dancing, because as the lead in Latin dancing, the man is the one that chooses kind of that leads the moves that you do. So I feel like there's more pressure on me because I don't want to have a boring dance. I want to have a really interesting dance. And I like creativity and doing all kinds of different things. And it takes time. I need to be patient with myself, but it takes time. I also feel like this analogy of how I'm improving at dance and how it's frustrating for me to be and a little bit nerve inducing when I go to ask someone to dance and I know that my dancing isn't that good. But this is the way that you get good at things, and especially things that might be uncomfortable, which includes, in my case, just um, getting confident around women and how I act around women and finding a romantic partner. I think these are and it applies to working out too. I know that's an analogy I love to talk about a lot, but you need to go through these steps where it's not going to be comfortable. It's not like, and you got to push through it, and slowly but surely you start seeing results. You start seeing yourself overcome these things. And the key is consistency. I've said this before, like as long as you keep maintaining that, you're going to get there. So I just need to keep doing it. If I keep dancing, I'm going to be a great dancer. If I keep on taking opportunities, even if they're uncomfortable, to try to uh, talk to more women, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, and yes, it might suck, and there's some deeper issues that I still need to work on for myself, and I'm going to be getting to that more, but I'll eventually get there. And it's just about not being disheartened at the fact that you're not seeing immediate results or anything like that. Unfortunately, we have made zero progress on clearing the basement room. We streamed 0 times, and I did not work at all on the business idea that I have. So in a way, I when I look at all of this, I see, hey, we did perfect on no porn or sexual stimulation. I'm very happy with this. I also had a great new experience in talking to this girl who's become a real friend to me at this point, which is awesome. And we're talking a lot and having a great time. And I feel like I'm learning much more about myself. So I feel even though there's been things that we didn't hit, very happy with how this week went. Now my goal is to hit these things that I didn't hit. Um, so speaking of which, the goals are going to stay pretty similar. I'm not going to change the priority checklist at all. For one and dones, I'm going to still say I'm going to go to at least one social dance event. Good progress on on clearing the basement room. Stream at least 4 times this week again, complete the business idea foundation, and good progress on Japan trip. I'm going to be going to Japan with my cousin in August, between August and September. And I've been talking to him, and I should have kind of laid out the plan more, but we're really getting to the bottom, the nitty gritty of planning out this trip. I also need to plan out what I'll be doing um, in another trip that'll be happening before that. So I really need to get down to planning, but I really want to start getting the gears in motion because I've never really properly planned a trip. So I'm really looking forward to doing this. Okay, we're making okay time. Again, I'm kind of liking this where I'm talking for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna end on this. One of the things that I spoke about before and that I think has been absolutely crucial to what I'm going through on my journey to improving myself, is exposing myself to things that make me uncomfortable. And I'm sure people have heard this saying before, but it's not just that. There's an added sense of awareness that I have. Let me just reset my microphone for 1 second. I have no idea why my mic is does this really annoying thing. Anyways, I didn't like how long that took to reset. But anyways, um, exposing myself to things that are uncomfortable. It's not just about doing those things. There's a sense of awareness to these things. And part of that to me, and I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but it's incorporating the shadow. If you want to look up what the shadow is, type the shadow Carl Jung and look into that. I've talked about it before. But to me, the thing that I'm most interested in when it comes to the shadow is noticing any time that I am getting very emotional, angry, frustrated, or judgmental about something. And that to me is like, oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? And I'm trying to understand the deeper part of me that is um, kind of has something locked inside that I'm not properly expressing. One of those things that I'm fine sharing, which I think I've shared before, is I have this thing where I'm very judgmental of people that do mainstream things, about people that do what's trendy. And it's like, why should I have such a strong judgmental reaction to this? It doesn't make sense. They are living their lives. Why should it affect me? Well, I suspect it's because when I was young, I behaved in certain ways and I was excluded in certain ways, and I think I failed to connect to my peers. And part of what doing what's trendy and mainstream is kind of connecting with what everyone else is doing. And so I think when I see people that are doing something that's trendy or mainstream, I'm thinking I have this frustration that's like, I wasn't able to do this. I wasn't able to connect with these people or my peers, and that's why I have this internal thing. And I'm trying to regulate that. I'm trying, or not regulate it. I'm trying to just say, I'm trying to identify that and say, it's fine for people to do that. I don't need this. And that's part of the self-talk that I mentioned that I do. But that's just an example. But I'm really focusing anytime I get a strong reaction, anytime my ego is involved, trying to really see where my ego starts to slip in. um, my ego really is something that, and I don't know if it's ego and being insecure, but I started to really dig deeper into who I am and what makes me feel like negative thoughts, feeling bad about myself. Because I really do see these things hidden. And there's a whole thing about shame that I'm gonna make a just a solo video talking about. But I really, I really like the fact that I'm addressing this and I'm experiencing this. And yes, it's a negative emotion. Yes, it's not fun, and I can get in a really bad place sometimes. But it feels so appropriate for me to be going through this right now. One of those things also, and I'll just open up in sharing this, is I realize that, man, I have this deep insecurity of not being able to be a man. Like, I don't want to get into too much. I wanted to get into the whole, like, what is being a man or what is being a woman. I'm not talking about that. But there's a part of me that feels like I lack this ability to be confident, especially around women. Um, I also noticed, and that had to do, there's a big thing about how I'm noticing that those thoughts and that's coming out in certain interactions that I'm having with people, with some women, with this new friend that's a girl that I'm talking to at times when certain comments are made, and I'm noticing that. And I started talking to her because we have really open communication about it. But I'm noticing that I'm slowly starting to feel more confident in that at the end of the day, how does that confidence really come? It's from, like I said earlier, exposing myself to these uncomfortable environments. Maybe I'll get bit, maybe I'll get rejected in some way, but you push through that, you keep it going. What I struggle with big time is my internal mood being dictated by, and my self-identity being dictated by the responses that other people give me. And while there is a natural and normal way that those should have a certain effect on you, it shouldn't have the profound effect that it does on me. If someone says something to me in a certain way, just one person doing one comment, that can send me in this entire negative spiral about how I'm worthless or undesirable or unattractive or all these things, which are lies. But because of things that happened when I was young and the way that things developed, that is the response that I have. And so my goal right now is working through that. I want to expose myself to these moments where I get those responses and I'm able to just push through them, being honest with myself. What is it, you know? A thing I just recently figured out, like today, is that I really have this big desire in me to want to be special, not just like a somewhat above average person that's kind of successful in whatever they're doing in life. There's a desire that I notice I have in me, and I want to be the best at something. I want people to look at me and say, wow, look at that guy. Look at what he's doing. You know, I have that. And I'm like, this is not a healthy thing to have. I don't know. You know what? It's a complicated thing because, in a way, I think maybe there's a part of me that's ambitious, but what I don't like about it is that I want people to look at me in awe. I want people to acknowledge me, to accept me. And people like as a whole, not even people close to me. And I think that's where it gets unhealthy. Because I've learned that actually having healthy attachments do exist. Having a healthy relationship with your family, with friends, with your partner, in the sense that when they give you good feedback or they give you negative feedback, that should affect you. We're not here to be perfect, like by myself, I will be amazing just by myself. We're human beings, we're social creatures, we need other people. Wow, I didn't expect to go into this whole rant, but that's what I'm going through. That's currently my mindset right now, and I really hope that I can continue this because I've been there many times where I start, you know, being on a good trajectory, being on a good path, and somehow I dip. But I think slowly but surely over time, I'm putting the pieces together that are allowing me to be more solidly consistent and making big progress. I'm actually going to do, before I end, I'm going to remind myself here, I'm actually going to add another one and done, which is write morning mantra. I'll just call it that for now. It doesn't really need to be specific. But what does that mean? I've talked about it before, but I want to write a paper that basically says what I'm going through right now, what I'm working on, what are the negative self-talks that come up in my mind and how I say that they are not true. What are my goals this year right now in this moment? And just have this paper written out. And I want it on my desk whenever I wake up in the morning, and I want to read that paper out loud to myself. I think it's great for multiple reasons, but the main reason for me is it just keeps me on track. It lets me not forget where I am. If I ever start veering off into a negative thing or something's happening, this brings me back to where my goals are. Because I think that I've noticed for me, sometimes I'll be doing good and then somehow I almost forget why I'm doing something. And I think that's key. And if I could get that discipline to reading that every day and actually writing it first and then reading it every day, I think it's such a extra power up in me being successful at what I want to do. Okay, man, almost 30 minutes. Uh, I felt passionate about what I talked there at the end. I hope you enjoyed listening. Please feel free to share your thoughts on this, whatever you might be going through. If you have some tips or advice on anything, please feel free to share. Um, yeah. Well, that is week 5 in the books, and hopefully we'll have an even better week for week 6. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.